Did a judge force an end to the Los Angeles County Eviction Moratorium? Yes and no. We're about to explain exactly what's going on with the Los Angeles County Eviction Moratorium, plus what landlords and tenants need to do for the last month of the eviction moratorium in Los Angeles County. Hey there. Christian Walsh, real estate agent with Wire Associates. We have been helping tenants and landlords understand eviction moratoria since the very beginning of COVID, and we're here with one of the few remaining updates on the Los Angeles County Eviction Moratorium, at least theoretically. A few important things before we get started. Number one is, remember, we can't give tax or legal advice, but for the most honest and up-to-date real estate advice, subscribe to this channel. Number two, another important thing is LA City has its own eviction moratorium. Make sure you check out our other videos on the LA City eviction moratorium. They're both currently in place. The LA County and LA City eviction moratorium are still in place as of the shooting of this video. And the last thing, I appreciate everyone who's asked for an update on the LA County and LA City eviction moratoria. I appreciate the fact that you want the update from me and the tens of thousands of views. I appreciate the fact that you don't want to just read headlines, you actually want to dive in and learn more so that you understand exactly how the eviction moratoria work and how they apply in your situation. I apologize I have to wait until last minute to give you these updates, but we have to see what's going to happen at the city, the county level, etc. Unfortunately, it has been a pattern since the beginning where the legislators wait until the last minute, and here we are yet again, just before an injunction goes into place for the LA County eviction moratorium. We're now giving you an update on this. So if you're ready to see exactly what judge said was unconstitutionally vague in the Los Angeles County eviction moratorium, hit that like button and let's get started. So let's take a quick dive into the injunction, and those are words I never thought I'd have to say, but here we are taking a look. It's worth a quick look. I know some of you are just going to want to skip this section and get to what you think is the meat, but this is the meat right here. So the injunction stems from a lawsuit that the Apartment Association of Los Angeles County and the Apartment Owners Association of California filed against the County of Los Angeles related to the eviction moratorium. There were lots of lawsuits out there that were filed. This is one that led to an injunction, and the Honorable Judge Dean D. Pragerson issued this injunction October 19th of 2022. And what it does is it stops a certain part of the Los Angeles County eviction moratorium. We're going to take a quick look on what he said and what it stops and how the county reacted, because this is important information for tenants and landlords for the last month of the eviction moratorium. I have links so you can go ahead and look at this on your own. Specifically, what we're referencing is the resolution that is dated January 25th, 2022. I have a link to that. So what it boils down to is what the county was arguing is that it was a narrower group, and in phase 2 it was just those at 80% of area median income or less. Landlords must accept a qualifying tenant's self-certification of their income level and the financial hardship related to COVID. So both of those came only from what the tenant was sharing. A tenant was able to use this as an affirmative defense against an eviction. So they used this to protect themselves in court from being evicted, and all they had to do is say they were at the income level and that they had the financial hardship from COVID. They didn't have to have any additional proof necessarily given to the landlord at that time. The county argued that the landlord could still move forward with the unlawful detainer, but the tenant could use that as the affirmative defense. The problem was in the moratorium language, in the resolution, it specifically says a landlord could not take an action to terminate any tenancy, including service of any notice to quit or notice to bring any action to recover possession of a rental unit, because they would be fined for this if they did this. The judge summarizes, in other words, a landlord cannot bring an unlawful detainer action at peril of civil or criminal penalties unless the landlord reasonably believes that a tenant's affirmative defense created by and comprising the tenant protections will fail. So it's a chicken or an egg. If the landlord moves forward and the tenant is rightfully affected by COVID in some way, the landlord loses and they're subject to civil penalties. The only way the landlord can move forward is if they're sure on some level that it will fail, that the affirmative defense that the tenant is going to bring is going to fail, but they're not given any proof. And furthermore, it gets into the fact that it's very vague and expansive. They don't define the financial impacts. There's no definition. It is so vague because there isn't a definition in the bill that a landlord, again, is stuck at a chicken or an egg. So this is an overreaching use of the legislation. The vagueness of the requirements in COVID affecting income, etc., that vagueness deprives the landlord of the ability to gauge whether any tenant can successfully invoke the affirmative defense. Without meaningful guidance from the resolution, any sort of firm standards in the resolution, landlords are left to guess. They don't know whether they can move forward with an unlawful detainer or not because they don't know whether they're going to win or not, whether that affirmative defense is true or not. So that ultimately, hopefully that makes sense, that is the problem. So the injunction is specifically related to a certain section, which I'm going to show you. And one more important point, the judge is giving the county time to set up a constitutionally viable alternative so that landlords and tenants can figure out a way to adjust. And that amount of time he's given to LA County is basically from the date of the injunction, which is October 19th, through December 1st, 2022. So he did give them time to make some modifications. So effective December 1st, 2022, the county is hereby enjoined from enforcing the tenant protections described in this section right here of the resolution, as well as any other portions that are related to that section. It is so ordered by Judge Dean D. Pragerson, and I will show you that particular section, and then we're going to show you what has been done by the county in response to this. In the resolution, this is the specific section that the injunction covers. The rest of it can stay in place. The injunction is specific to 6A, B2 right here. So this is the section, and it's related to the 80% area median income, and it's related to the self-certification. So that is where we need to see a change as of December 1st, 2022. Now let's go ahead and take a look as to what has changed. And here we are, straight from the County of Los Angeles, the latest version of the different phases for the Los Angeles County Eviction Moratorium. And if you watch my other videos, you'll notice that there's a big change in this chart. It was just updated November 15th of 2022. And there was another update that's very important that you need to see coming up. But the big update is it no longer references the 80% of area median income, and it has some other very important standards in here that must be met. So this says in this section over here, in phase 2, effective July 1st, the self-certification to establish an affirmative defense will only apply if one or both of the following apply, and that is a substantial loss of household income. And by substantial loss, they now have a standard where they didn't before. It was whatever the person who was self-certifying thought was an effect from COVID. Now it has to be a loss of at least 10% of a tenant's monthly household income, and may be evidenced by pay stubs, letters from employers, etc. The other thing, and that could apply, is increased costs in food, fuel, childcare, or unreimbursed medical expenses in an amount greater than 7.5% of a tenant's monthly household income. So those are different. These are objective standards that can be shown. It's no longer vague. It's no longer related only to those at 80% of area median income. These changes were specifically made because of the injunction. For the most part, a lot of other stuff in here was not touched by the injunction, but these things were. So this is a change to the process for self-certification. And I encourage you to watch the other content I've done to understand how the Los Angeles Eviction Moratorium applies to other at-fault and no-fault evictions in Los Angeles County. There's important details in there, so make sure you watch that other video. The other thing we can see here is that as of right now, and most likely this will stick, that the eviction moratorium will be ending on December 31st, 2022. So there will be a different way to self-certify. There will be a different process that a tenant will need to follow in order to have that affirmative defense established. And I'm going to show you that in a moment. What I also want you to see, what's important down here at the bottom, is that the no-fault eviction protections in Los Angeles County will remain for those who missed rent July 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022, and are still within their 12-month repayment period. But if a tenant misses rent going forward, January 1st, 2023 or beyond, there are no additional protections under the Los Angeles County Eviction Moratorium for non-payment of rent due to COVID-19. And the other big change, you can find that chart that talks about phase 1 and phase 2 on this website. We have a link below. LA County's website has also made a change to the self-certification form. So this one is even newer than that chart. This was born on November 22nd, 2022. Very new form, and this is what a tenant will use to give to their landlord in order to certify now that they can't pay rent. And the tenant has 7 days after the rent is due to get this to their landlord, 7 days or sooner, and it recommends that it be sent via email or certified mail. Additionally, it advises on here, as I always advise, make sure you reach out to an attorney, whether you're a tenant or a landlord going through the eviction process. It's important to have an attorney on your side. And then scrolling down, so the landlord will receive a copy of this, and the tenant must go ahead and check some boxes to explain specifically why COVID has affected them. There's a new optional page, but my guess is this is going to be much more important for this last month of the eviction moratorium. This optional page will include evidence to the fact that COVID has affected the household income, and you can use financial statements, pay stubs, a letter from an employer. So this is the first time we're seeing this in the self-certification process. And again, this does not simply apply to those at 80% of area median income and lower. This is for anybody who is going to attest to the fact that they can't pay rent due to COVID-19 in the month of December 2022. Leave your questions below on the LA County Eviction Moratorium. I'm sure you have them, and we'll continue to have them until the very end of this. I want to say thank you again for all the support for our eviction moratoria content. We appreciate you taking the time to dive in. We don't want you to miss another update on LA Eviction Moratorium, market updates, and a whole lot more for tenants and landlords and buyers and sellers. So make sure you subscribe to our free weekly email newsletter. There's a link below so you can do that. You're not going to want to miss a single weekly issue of that. Make sure you check out this video on the Los Angeles County Eviction Moratorium, the Phase 2 protections. Everything else stays in place except for the change we covered in this video. Thanks again for tuning in. This is Christian Walsh, real estate agent with Wire Associates, and we want to hear from you.